Hello and welcome to our dog in a couch and a chair chat. So I'm
Hi,
Canella.
I'm Kalinda.
And I am finite.
So,
Hello.
hello. So today we are going to be talking about Elon Musk and his Twitter deal. So, when I look at the website, and I'm going to put this up as we're talking about it, um, it says Elon Musk Twitter complaint hotline operator. His location is hell, and he joined in June 2009. And so the main issue with this is, a lot of people are concerned because one of the first things Twitter did was they laid off a number of people. So thoughts?
Well, what I've heard is a couple of them filed a lawsuit, correct?
Mm-hmm.
If you lay off more than 100 people at a time, you have to give them a 60-day notice.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a few of them have filed a lawsuit based on that. Um, but yeah, Elon,
Well,
um,
according to his tweet on November 4th, he said that they had no choice because the company was losing $4 million a day, and that everyone who exited was offered 3 months of severance, which is 50% more than legally required.
but I also heard, do you know he asked them, like the ones that are gonna be staying on, to work 82 hours per week?
Hmm.
Like that's something he threw out there on Twitter that I mean, it's a lot of hours and a lot of lawyers they starting out in new firms. I know they want them to work 80 hours a week,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're young and don't have anything else to do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some can get it accomplished, but
Yeah. That's a lot to work. That's like that's just under what is legal because legally um any company cannot have an employee work more than 16 hours a day.
Well, that's not the only facet of it.
Yeah.
Okay, are they hourly employees or are they salaried employees? Because if they're salaried employees, that means they're also highly skilled. Another thing is that he told everybody that they need to come back to the office. And it's not only him that's saying that. There's a YouTuber, a highly respected YouTuber with a lot of subscribers that said most of these companies are going to make their decisions about people that are working at home based upon whether or not they come back into the office or not.
Hmm.
mhm. Yeah, we had to coming back into the office. I didn't like it, but I understand it. I really do.
Yeah. So my question is, why is Twitter losing 4 million a day? Why is this suddenly an issue? And I can't find the exact thing, but I believe I read somewhere that when he acquired Twitter, it was something about a $13 billion loan. Did you guys hear
Well,
anything about that?
well, I heard that he obtained a loan to buy it, which, like, I mean, that's what rich people do. They don't pay out of their pocket. But I also, from what I understand, like, he's losing money because he's allowing, I guess, anybody to say whatever they want to say, and some advertisers are pulling out. That's
Mm,
one thing. So I
mm,
think the advertisers may have a lot to do with it.
okay.
Kind of what my opinion is.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, I guess you know how like a lot of the accounts have that nice little blue check if you're basically if you're famous or you know you are you have notoriety, you get the little blue check. And
Hmm.
so there was some kind of discussion between Elon Musk and Stephen King about this. He was talking about charging people $20 a month to
Yeah.
keep their little blue check. And Stephen King is like, I'm not paying it. So you have
Hmm.
these multimillionaires, billionaire, at least one's a billionaire, arguing over $20 a month.
But you see, he brought it down to eight.
Well, well, you know, on some level or another, how many people does Stephen King bring to Twitter? How many followers does he have?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question because he does, and that's the main reason I go to Twitter. Even on my account, I call myself a Twitter fangirl because it's one way I can connect to the people who I see on TV or hear on the radio. I can go there and they may give me a little, heart or actually say a few words to me. It's just
Well,
a nice thing.
okay. So at the end of the day, businesses are in the business of making money, right?
Hmm.
How many monthly users, how many active monthly users does Twitter have? Disclaimer, I have the number right here in my face right now, so take a shot at it.
I don't know. Um,
Well,
they have.
that's why I should.
I mean, they have millions. What would you say, Camilla?
I'm going to guess around 120 million.
That.
How many?
Well, no, no,
It's a
no.
low
That was
number.
that. No, that was a good guess, but that was their number from basically 2019. They had
Oh,
139 million monthly users. Now apparently they have 450 million monthly users. So we kind of just talked about the economics behind that earlier, right?
Hmm.
That if you charge if you're able to charge every one of them $1, what happens to your bottom line right away?
Yeah.
right. I understand, but I'm not gonna pay for Twitter.
Well,
She
I mean,
joined.
go ahead.
Okay, Camilla joined Twitter so she can connect with people, and I joined Twitter so I can complain
Frank.
because companies listen. Like honestly, they be on point with listening. Several times I've experienced that companies they listen to Twitter and they come through and they
Hmm.
make things right. So that's why I kind of joined Twitter was
Right.
to
Okay.
complain and make things right, not really
Now,
to. Huh?
so we discussed earlier that you've taken advanced mathematics courses, right? We had that in our discussion earlier, right? Our offline discussion.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when I ask you what the reciprocal of 450 million is, you know exactly what I'm implying, right?
Yes. I understand all of that. I really
Yeah,
do.
because we're not talking about eyeballs, but yeah, I think the point that you're alluding to is that you're a representative. You're 1 times 10 to the what is it? Two. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. 2.2 times 10 to the ninth number as an individual. Well, there's let's say 3% of people are on Twitter to do exactly what you are doing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that
And
would be your
the
point.
same with, yeah, Canela. There are people doing what she's interested in.
Right,
putting out
right.
there. So yeah.
All right.
But see, uh, go
but
ahead.
but
But Canela, would you pay for that blue check mark?
nope. I don't even have one. Why do I need one? I'm just Canella.
Yeah, she's not a celebrity. She said the celebrities get it.
But anybody, according to where it is now, if he's offering to pay this amount, would you pay just to get a blue check mark to say, "Hey, I'm somebody"?
No, because then everyone's going to have blue check mark. Maybe they're going to change it like,
Exactly.
okay, if you're just an average Canella, you get a blue check mark, but if you're Elon Musk, you get a gold check mark.
You know
They're
what
gonna
that
change
reminds
it.
me of?
Exactly. Exactly.
No, no. Check this out. Y'all want to know what that reminds me of? You ever see that Dr. Seuss cartoon Stars Upon Stars, where Sylvester McMonkey McBean kept charging the kept charging the Thars to get their stomachs changed to get this. First, you had to have a star, else you wasn't cool. And then so Mr. Sylvester McMonkey McBean charged the people that didn't have stars on their stomach money to get it, right? Never
Hmm.
mind.
No, I just don't. I don't know that cartoon, but I mean, I understand the concept of what the
Well,
cartoon
okay,
was
okay.
like. What
And
you're
so
saying,
then,
yeah.
so then, once everybody had a star on their stomach, he charged everybody money to get the dang star removed, right? The point of being is that these fools kept paying them to get stars taken off and put on. Yeah, that's all. It reminds me of.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, exactly, So I think, one thing that really gets me is Elon Musk, he's kind of like, to me, he's kind of like getting this let them eat cake kind of attitude because on November 4th, he put a tweet that says, trash me all day, but it'll cost you $8.
Oh, sorry. Heck no. Heck no. No, no, no.
Okay, so the thing
Uh,
is, like I was saying, he's coming up with this, you know, trash me all day, it'll still cost you $8. And I don't even want to pay $1. Stephen King don't want to pay $20. So, you know, I don't know. Then he says power to the people.
What people? Whose people?
That's just what he
What?
said, power to the people. I guess.
What? I mean, my
well,
question would be, what part is he talking about? Like,
you're talking about a numbers game, right? So if there's 450 million monthly users and 10% of the 450 million users are willing to come up with, what'd you say, $8 to talk crazy about him?
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah,
I'll take
yeah.
it.
You extrapolate the numbers. It's not it's easy math, right?
Look, I'll take it. You can talk anything you want to say about me. Yeah, with
Right.
all of that. I agree. I would
Yeah.
agree.
So, he is also talking about something about how Twitter will eventually, in his words, he says Twitter will soon add ability to attach long form text to tweets. Uh, so, you don't have to do, I guess he said, notepad screenshots, something about that.
Yeah.
And
YouTube did the same thing years ago.
then he said, this will be followed by creator monetization for all forms of content. So now he's dangling a carrot.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's a lot like, a lot of people that were in big TV, they didn't think that YouTube was going to work, right? If a newscaster mentioned YouTube, when YouTube was in its infancy, they were like, "Oh, this new YouTube thing." Well, my guess is that he's going to try to do the exact same thing, right? It'll be on a level of where it's lucrative to monetize that sort of situation.
Hmm.
I think. He put his money in the wrong pot. He shouldn't have gone there. He should have stuck with what he's known for and what he knows. And I think this is like something new that he put his
Well,
money. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe I may be wrong, but I don't know. I just think it was not a great thing for him to do and invest in. That's
well,
just my opinion.
I'll say this. There's a controversial person that copied their source code and started a platform of their own, right? And a certain percentage of those people went away or were discouraged, I believe, from mentioning whatever he was about on Twitter. And I'll just leave that right there.
Okay.
Well, he's an evil, weird genius in my mind. I like him
Well,
on one hand, but I don't like him on other hands. It's like, oh,
all right. So it's
he's
easy
a
to
weird
draw
genius.
comparisons between him, people like Steve Jobs and Thomas Edison, where the difference between Musk and those guys would be that Elon Musk has the charisma to pull it off to do the sell, but he also has the technical ability to help create the technology, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
because
Hmm.
obviously when you know that there's other companies under his umbrella, right? Like
Yes,
like are you familiar with the Boring Company?
No.
boring or
The
boring.
Boring Company. It literally sounds like, okay, this is boring and I'm gonna fall asleep.
Right? No, I'm
But
not.
no, there
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
he heads up a company called the Boring Company, and what the Boring Company does is they bore tunnels under the ground.
Mm.
They're doing it in Las Vegas right now, and part of the sale is that you're going to have your Tesla underground, and instead of having to deal with the traffic in Las Vegas, you drive through this tunnel. Or, you know, I'm sure since they've got all this auto drive stuff going on, that it automatically drives you through the tunnel because
Right.
obviously there's no fire hydrants to hit or people crossing the street, right? So, you know, and at the same time Vegas is growing out, you know, in all four directions of the
Mm-hmm.
compass. So there's that. And everybody knows about SpaceX, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So SpaceX there, but there's more to it. I mean, with the understanding that the reason that they're going with this low Earth orbit stuff where the rockets are concerned and trying to re-land them is that they're putting satellites out there, right? You're aware, are you all aware of this? Or
Mm-hmm.
that's the desire is to put geostationary satellites all around the Earth so that they can instead of and there's another aspect to these satellites. Instead of sending the data by radio waves to one another, is sent by infrared, which is going to work at the same speed as a fiber optic connection, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's basically like Skynet, like you've seen in the Terminator movies.
Great.
So
So
that's
he's
what
building
Elon doing.
Right, right, right. Well, and the upside of that being, like, you both know that because I'm out in the country, my cellular connection is terrible, right? So all of a
Yes.
sudden, you don't have to, like, you can be out in the forest out in Far East Asia and still have a 5G like connection or
Mm-hmm.
a high speed connection to your cell phone and get perfect service, right?
So that's what Elon doing with Twitter.
Well, um, no, that's just a sidebar to what he's doing. I don't think he's been associated with anything that's failed yet, though. Especially where,
I know.
especially where internet related things are concerned. and there's really nothing. I mean, he's also big into cryptocurrency, right? Now,
Yes.
one of the problems with fiat currency which is what we deal with, is money transferred hand to hand. Now, anytime you've moved a large, okay, I just had to do an ACH transfer from a virtual bank that I participate in to my brick and mortar, one of my brick and mortar banks, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you do that, it's an ACH transfer.
Right.
So, um, It that was just a few $1,000s. What about people that are moving billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars? They need their money to move fast. It's actually one of the problems with that we're seeing right now is if the money could move faster, they could figure out what's wrong with inflation. But lots of times when they look back to see if there's actually a recession going, it takes 6 months to say, oh yeah, we were in a recession. And I'm just saying all that to say this. If he's doing one thing with Twitter, there's probably something else we're not thinking about that he has planned. That's all.
I'm still not paying $8 a month.
Yeah.
I agree. I ain't paying him shit. Black Twitter
Oh,
gonna leave.
I see now she has to get out the beeper thing.
No, oh, I can't say that. Cause there's such
Yeah,
things that we got that we got Black Twitter.
right, right. Well, yeah, but there's something
Women,
else planned. I'm trying to think of a time that I wasn't able to actually see the forest for the trees on something that would that I could use as an example, but I'm not really coming up with anything off the top of my head. But this is, I would say that overall this is an example of all of us not seeing the forest for the trees. Or like, okay, let's think about this for a second. Amazon is AWS is responsible for 30% of the internet, right?
Mhm.
He might be trying to come for that business, right?
Mhm.
That's all. Because
I,
because when they get those geostationary satellites going, they're not going to go up there for free. Somebody's got to pay for all that.
I know. Maybe I'm just secretly wishing he fell at some shit, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm wishing. I want him to say, I done damn messed up. What the heck I do this for? That's what I'm secretly wishing. This me, you little rich, little daggone South African kid. Like, that's what something need to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I don't
Little
know.
Eh,
diabolical, he's like a little diabolical, little evil, little like on like a little cartoon.
well, Zuckerberg is cut from the same piece of cloth, right? Which is why you can't find me on Facebook. But you know, we have to the we have to understand what's going on. Like at the end of the day, everybody has to understand what the implicate or needs to understand what the implications of
I
the
know.
technology. That's all.
Mhm.
I got it. A little diabolical
Yeah.
genius.
Yeah, personally, I hope a lot of his stuff does succeed. Like if he
Mm.
can you know, make these Teslas more affordable to the middle class
Oh, that
and
part.
even the lower class, like we need to stop using the fossil fuels. We needed to stop using
Well,
those back in the 70s.
well,
Hmm.
that's happening now. But the reason fossil fuel could have been a lot more efficient a long time ago. There's no way that anybody can prove to me that we can make a television we can make television technology work, but we need carburetors and distributors on cars. That was a joke. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
know y'all are not mechanics or anything like that, but basically all a carburetor is a toilet, and a distributor is this spinning windmill that hits the electricity for the engine when it spins, right? As opposed to making an electronic
Can I
circuit that works
can I
similar
ask you a question?
to a after I finish making my statement, and where TV signal is real similar to an electronic circuit that has to work on a time signature. But what was that? What was that, Kalinda?
For those of us who don't know about vehicles, and when you say the carburetor is basically the toilet, so does that mean like everything that the car exhausts, it basically goes through the carburetor? Is that what that is?
Well, the carburetor is the place where the air fuel mixture happens, and fuel injection allows that to happen more efficiently. And if you manipulate the spark with an electronic circuit, you can make it fire exactly when you want to for optimum performance. Engines do that now. Now these days engines do that, but they could have had back in the 70s or even the 60s, they could have made a more rudimentary technology that would have done it better than the distributors did it, and they would have made more power, which was a real big deal in the 60s. It's always been a big deal because
Okay.
that's what racing cars is all about.
Well, layman's term,
Mhm.
layman's term.
I heard
The
you the
the
first time you come in.
carburetor is just to collect junk that the dang old
No,
vehicle
no,
exposes.
no, 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 no. I did say I answered your question first up. I said the
Right, but
carburetor is where
you said it in a way that regular people are not gonna understand what the heck
I
you
I
saying.
said I said the carburetor is where the air and the fuel mix. That's where it mixes.
Okay.
And and
Okay.
and
Okay.
there's a figure known as stoichiometry that has to be right. The air fuel mixture has to be 14 to 1, and fuel and injection allows that to happen more efficiently.
Yeah. So,
Okay, he the smart one in the bunch.
yeah, but the sad thing is, you know, we've been using all this fossil fuel for
Hmm.
way too long, and a lot of it has to do with, you go back, 70s, they had the fuel crisis, and they actually had electric cars back in the 70s that were functional.
They
Yeah.
had whoa, whoa, whoa. They had
Patrol cars.
wait a second. They had electrical cars back in 1919. Jay Leno has one and it works perfectly today. I mean, of course they had to rebuild it, but yeah. They've had electric cars for a long time.
But basically, what's going on is you got these greedy business people, and yeah, okay, it's good to make money. We all like making money. But what about the betterment of society and the betterment of man? You know,
Well, I mean, you're bringing up that, but you, now you have to understand why the inventor of television made TV. The inventor of television made TV so that everybody could get a free education. Do you think that that's what the capitalists were interested in? No, the capitalists were like, "Hey, if I can put a commercial on if I can put this thing called a commercial on TV with my soda or with my cereal, I can reach a bigger audience."
yeah,
The,
well,
the,
they had commercial with
hmm.
radio too. But
Well, but radio and TV are two different animals.
yeah. But that's also why, you have Thomas Edison versus uh Nicholas, wait, what's his name? Tesla. I
Tesla,
can't think of his first
the
name.
real Nikolai Tesla,
Thank you.
the real person that Tesla is named after. Yes.
So the one reason, even though Tesla's energy was safer and more economical, I'm just guessing it was more economical.
No, I'll
Woo
break
woo.
down the whole history after you finish your statement.
And then you have Thomas Edison, who his electricity was very dangerous. And to this day, if we don't do right, we can get shocked and killed.
Well,
And
no, you actually have that backwards, but go ahead since you have more statement.
okay, so my point is this. Um, the only reason why Tesla's stuff didn't get advanced is because he wanted to give it away for free. He didn't want to monetize it.
Okay, okay. Understanding of electricity at the time that you're talking about was not very well known. There was a very small group of scientists that understood it well. And Edison, to my point earlier, he's not a hand. He wasn't the hands-on person that Elon Musk is in his technology. Okay, George Westinghouse and Tesla both understood alternating current. Now, if the world would have went the way that Thomas Edison suggested, we would have had to have power plants every few blocks or so because he was operating with DC DC electricity. That's when the electrons only flow one direction all the time, okay? Now, the
Right.
reason we're able and Nikolai Tesla and George Westinghouse both understood alternating current. That's when the cycles switch twice per minute. Okay, that's what 60 hertz. That's what 60 hertz means. You go from zero to peak voltage, and then half a second later you're back at zero, and then three-quarters of a second later you're back at negative peak voltage, and then a full second later you're back at zero. That and it is able to move electricity more efficiently. That's why you can have the power plant so far away. That's why literally, since I'm in Southern California, some of the electricity that I use comes from the Hoover Dam out in Nevada. You couldn't do that with DC.
Hmm.
I remember learning that.
Hmm.
I
Well, let me
do.
preface it for the people that are listening to this. My degree is in electronics engineering technology, which I put in my comments all the time. So
And my
when I'm just
degrees are.
okay, but I mean, literally, those are some subject car technology and electronics is probably what I know best in the world. So
Okay.
Right.
But but yeah, but like I said, we just we have too much dependence on oil,
uh,
and it's basically
okay.
because of greed.
Well, can I follow that up with one more statement?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In classic Rome, the steam engine is not a new invention. Okay, the steam engine is not new. They had it in classic Rome. There was an inventor. His name was Hero, and he was classically trained as an engineer in Alexandria, Egypt. Okay, he's the guy that showed Rome the steam engine, right? And he's
Hmm.
like, we could apply it to all these different things, and then the aristocracy said, but okay, if we use it to process grain, what are we going to do with all the slaves that do that now? So there's really nothing that has changed. You just apply that same philosophy to this day and time. I mean, where the cars are produced, these people form friendships, right? Like
Yep.
if you if you bought a car 70 years ago, well, even then you didn't make everything, right? So when you used to look at the GM sticker, it said Body by Fisher. That's a different company. AC Delphi, that was not just GM, right? The
Hmm.
electrical portion of the car. So they don't want to put their friends out of business. That's all.
Hmm.
And now
Yep.
Okay.
there's come what we call disruptive technology that's changing all that. And both of y'all know that I invest in it. So
Yep.
What, Elon and Twitter?
hmm
Um, I just think he wasn't. I think he bit off more than he could chew. That's just my opinion. He didn't realize what, because I mean, he really haven't dealt in the internet world like that. Like basically,
what do
he's
you
been
mean?
producing items.
PayPal
I
is an
understand,
internet based company.
but I think he did it for other reasons, and he wasn't ready for that because he's really involved in other technologies versus the technologies of the internet. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Where
Like,
PayPal is money. And Twitter is relationships, customer service, focused. I don't know if that's really the word for it, but it's more about dealing with people where PayPal is just like you just got to make sure people get the money.
Right.
Well,
He's
for
not.
you, but go ahead.
No, I'm just saying he's just not. I'm
Ooh,
Well, we
sorry.
need to
oh,
edit that out.
bless you.
I'm sorry. He's
But
just not used to dealing with regular people. He's not like he's always on the scale where I'm on top, I'm running this, I'm telling you what to do, what you to do, what you to do, and he really can't tell the people that subscribe and
Okay, hold on.
download
Let
the
me,
app.
yeah, we get it, we get it. Let me, because I'm setting this all up to ask a question. Mark Zuckerberg is responsible for the most popular social network, right?
mhm.
Is he a people person, or did he spend his formative years before he got Facebook going, writing code and just dealing with other coders?
No, he's not. But that's all he's been dealing with. That's all I'm saying. That's all he's done with is like basically social media. That's his job. That's what he want to do. That's all he's done. He's done. But Elon, that wasn't his focus. That's not all he's done. And he's dibbling and dabbling in places like, okay, yeah, you can be in this field, but you're gonna try to bring all this in, and you have no experience in really doing that. That's why I think like he's smart, but he think he's smarter than he really is. I mean, I don't think he can take on all that he's trying to take on. I don't. That's just me. I just think he's taking on more than he really can handle, and I wouldn't
Okay.
be surprised if that little mug something crazy happened because I think he's taking on a lot.
Yeah.
So, well, hold on. Because there's one company that I own stock in that if they close their doors tomorrow, their intellectual property is probably worth more because they would no longer be manufacturing anything. Anybody that wanted to manufacture their stuff has to get the people that run that company now to sign off on it, right?
Mhm.
So the thing that I'm implying is that the name Twitter, the ability to use the name Twitter or own it is has certain intrinsic values in itself.
Yeah.
Remember a little company called MySpace? How about Black
Mhm.
Planet?
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember MySpace, but here's the problem with MySpace is it wasn't dynamic enough, right? And therein lies why both of them failed because they were based their code at the on the most rudimentary levels were they were both they weren't ready for the 21st century.
All right, but we're not talking
Yeah.
about code. We were talking about the name, Twitter. Like you were like,
Okay,
oh, people will just be like, we want Twitter, we want Twitter. No, we want the
They
next
can
best
become
thing. If
expensive.
you are not
Yeah.
serving my needs, then bye bye.
You can become the
uh,
next
you,
MySpace and Black Planet and
Hmm.
okay. Traditionally for companies like y'all are saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. But at the same time, this is what at least seems to be what Musk is leaning towards, or the Twitter group is leaning towards, is efficiency, monetary efficiency from its users.
Okay. And I was looking up what you were saying, because since they can't get it from the advertisers, because I just saw on November 4th, Elon Musk tweeted, Twitter has had a massive drop in revenue due to activist groups pressuring advertisers, even though nothing has changed with content moderation, and we did everything we could to appease the activists. He says, extremely messed up. They're trying to destroy free speech in America.
Okay, there's that aspect of it. So let and what I'm saying is, and actually, we we had, well, not you, not all of us, but there was a discussion earlier today. It's so what does it mean for the bottom line if all of those people pull out, and there is a contingent or a remnant of people that are willing to pay however much money it costs to be in there? And then because whatever beliefs they have, they're willing, oh, well, I believe in this, so I'm going to make sure I spend $50 in here a month or $200 a month.
Mm.
At that point, the more that happens, the less and less what advertisements are talking about matters.
Yeah, so what's he going to say?
No.
Anyone that stays with
Well,
Twitter gets a free trip to Mars.
They
yeah,
might,
and
you
I
know
don't
what?
think.
Okay, I know a guy that runs an internet company, right? I don't really know him. I know his brother. Okay, and what they do, oddly enough, it's Canella. You mentioned it yourself. What? Okay, we're going to offer this free ride to Mars. Well, this guy's company, his website, every month they have a car giveaway of 100. It's usually some $100,000 car
Mm-hmm.
every month. Okay, and this is the way they get those people. You think the implied the implied message is that you're only going to spend $8 for a one-time entry, which I did before. And now you all know how I get down. I keep all my numbers are on spreadsheets, and
Mm-hmm.
it- and I and I go over everything that I spend. And I went to my friend and I'm like, dude, your brother's company keeps billing me this $8. I finally had to cancel my credit card, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's exactly what they probably have. They probably have something just like that planned.
Hmm. Yeah.
All these people don't look at their credit card statements to look at, especially like $8. If
Yeah.
they see the number at all, they probably thought they bought a hamburger with it or something.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Nickel and dime.
Yeah, that's why you need to go through your statements.
Yeah,
I
well,
know. That is
every time
true.
I every time I suggest that somebody watch their numbers on a spreadsheet, they give me that look. So you know,
Well, I'll admit you should watch it because I wouldn't have known that a clinic tried to charge me.
who
Mm-hmm.
did?
A clinic, like I went
Oh,
and got a COVID test, and
uh-huh.
I paid $50 as I guess a part of my copay or whatever, and like I guess a month later they tried to charge me another $150
Mm,
for a COVID test.
mm,
So I go back to them. I'm like, wait a minute, like, and I would have known that if another person hadn't watched their account who went to the same clinic and gotten the COVID test and they charged her account. I'm like, wait a minute, they charged me. And I look back, and sure enough, $150 they had charged me, all because I wasn't watching my account. But
mm.
needless to say, I got my money back. Cause
Oh, good.
yeah, I got my money back. But yeah, watch your account, everybody.
Yep.
Yeah,
I have a
that's
story
one.
about that too. Hmm.
So what else we got on the plate?
Well, that's a good point right here. Watch your accounts because that happened to, well, I have taken over watching my mom's accounts, and
Mm,
the first thing I noticed was this $4, about to say $8, this $4 that kept popping up
mhm,
month after month. I'm like, well, what is this? And so she had been charged for a little over a year, and it added up to like $101. And it turned out it was a local newspaper that she had ordered. And when she asked about it, or when I called and asked about it, they were like, well, we weren't aware she wasn't getting her papers. And I'm like, well, she called you a couple times saying she didn't get it. And they said, well, yeah, but then she stopped calling us. I said, because she's old and she just forgot. And
Right.
and I'm like, if you didn't give her the product, then she should get her money back. And they're like, well, we're only able to do it for like 60 days and under. And then, it was just like a big whoop-de-doo. And so we ended up calling her bank, and then they were ignoring the bank, because
Mm.
they knew that, oh, if it's over 60 days old, that we don't have to deal with the bank. So I'm like, okay, I got y'all. So I went to the Attorney General, and I wrote
Okay.
down who I talked to. I had dates, like I always write down who I talked to, what time, what date, and I do a brief summary of what was spoken about. And so I had all this information and I put it in the form. And then I went on like different reviews, and there were people, it was showing a pattern of this. People saying we ordered the newspaper, but we never got the newspaper. And despite me telling them this, there were people saying we canceled, and then they still charged my card. And some people were like, they're still charging my card. I don't know why they just didn't cancel their card like Finite did, but they just they were trying to deal with it. So I wrote the Attorney General, and as soon as the Attorney General got involved, they called like like as soon as they got the letter, they called us. And I said, had y'all not been playing games with me, it would have never got that far, because they can lose their business license. And so they ended up, long story short, they gave us our money back. And then they told the Attorney General that we were outside the delivery area, which is not true, because it's a paper for our city. So how are we outside the delivery area? We're only like 8 blocks from downtown.
Oh,
How
Hmm.
am I outside the delivery area? And what about the
Is
other
this
right.
people?
is this a new video?
Well, we keep talking for an hour.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying because I mean we can talk about that or yeah, it sounds like
What's
we
the
should talk
next
about
topic?
that. Yeah. So
The
that's
next
another vid.
topic.
This is for a different video, I imagine.
Okay, I am not editing a 60-minute video. So let's keep going. I'm just saying.
Uh,
Right.
So
what?
everything you
What?
say is going to be on here.
All right.
But
What? You say you're not editing a 60? Well, how long we been on here? We've been on here longer than 60
50
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah. Trust me, editing down to 10 minutes with 15 minutes of stuff, it takes a long time. Yeah, I get her point.
So,
Right. I mean, you still got a lot of stuff, right? No?
yeah. So, yeah, now we're talking about stories of why you should, you know, watch your credit card bill and your bank account statements, because
Right.
people are
Mm.
shady as AF.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to say what
Mm.
website did that, but yeah, I know the guy's brother and yo, they kept trying to charge me money and I even called their service line and they were acting like they were doing something about it and they didn't.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that there's obviously a lot of companies out there that do it, but where checking people's accounts, it was I ran this number past one of y'all earlier today, is that 30% of people making $250,000 a year or more have credit card debt that they can't pay off. They're not looking at
Mhm.
their that's the last thing they want to do is look at their statements. They want to just keep living life, right?
Yeah. I
And
love
they don't.
it.
eh,
Yeah.
But I
And
like to know what I
sadly,
have.
there's a lot of people, they just lack those skills to check. Like they don't realize if you pay the minimum balance, it's just you're digging your hole deeper.
Well, a lot of
Well,
us weren't trained. I mean, I wasn't taught that. I mean,
Yeah.
So a lot of us aren't taught that. I mean, I really wasn't. I had to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go out on on a limb and guess that people making $250,000 a year have enough sense to sit down and look at what's happening with their money and try to figure out why they
Sometimes,
can't and try to figure out why they can't pay their bills all the way off. But that's just me. They
yeah,
can
yeah,
go
you
over to Twitter and write write code that's capable of recursion, but they can't do a simple addition and subtraction problem. That's kind of a reach.
it's not that it can't. It's a part basically of being, I guess, lazy of writing down everything you spend money on. I mean, it really
What's
is.
that magic word we were talking about earlier?
What? What was it?
Yeah, want exactly. They don't want to do it because it's not
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. They. I mean,
Yeah, but
yeah,
just because someone is making $200,000 a year does not mean that they haven't been taught the skills that they need. You know,
exactly.
the word want versus needs. Sometimes they're like, "Ooh, I
You have to
want the Louis
learn that.
Vuitton." But yet here they
Right.
are in all this credit card debt. And the credit card companies be playing people like that. I'm
They
like,
got you in college.
yes,
They
that's what
got
I was
you.
going to say. The first day of freshman year, you're just walking on campus. Hi, let us tell you about our card. And I'm going to tell you, this is I used to hear this every the first week of college. Hi, let us tell you about our card. And you know what? So you sign up for the card and your parents, how much do your parents give you a month? Oh, about,
Mhm.
$50 a month? Well, this is what you can do. You could charge up to so much a month on the card and you only have to pay like 25 a month, you know? And they
All
make it
three of us
sound
went to college. With the little kiosk that they put out at the beginning of the semester.
Yeah.
yeah. But what I'm saying is this is some of them have been approached this way. Especially those who
Yeah.
are making 200,000. Their parents
It's-
probably gave them everything they wanted. Not everybody, but a lot of them may have gotten things and they just never got that lesson that some of us who grew up hard had to learn. You know? I learned
Well, we
from
had
the
to learn the
get-go.
hard way, but they didn't teach it to us. They didn't teach us like this is what you should be doing. Like I wasn't taught like you need to be saving this, you need to be doing that, like at a young age. I've been working since I was 14 years old.
Mhm.
So it'd have been awesome if someone had told me earlier, you need to say this, you need to do that. That would have been great for me. But I
Mhm.
had to learn on my own because they didn't teach that to me.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's how those with $200,000 a year get in all that credit card debt. They just
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my parents didn't talk to me about credit cards either, and it's pretty much
Well,
an addition
just
and
saying.
subtraction problem. It's pretty much
I
an
know.
addition. Okay.
But no, I'm just saying they didn't tell us that you should be saving, you should be doing this. Like or paying
Oh,
like uh
financial literacy in America is pathetic.
they didn't teach us that. And I never forget one time because I was supposedly in charge of paying the bills in my little marriage or whatever. So the bills came through. I'm paying the bills. The bills are the bills are due. I'm writing the checks. I'm paying the bills. So my husband, he come and he was like, "Well, why you pay?" I'm like, "Cause that's how much the damn bill is." He was like, "No, you're supposed to negotiate and pay this amount and make an arrangement." And I'm like, "What?" Like that was new to me. I never been in charge of paying shit.
mhm.
So that was kind of new to me. I don't know. And I'm thinking when the bills come, you supposed to pay them all, right? Right?
Yep.
He he complained to me because I
What do
guess
you
he
what
wanted more spending money in his pocket. that I shouldn't have paid all the bills off.
Right, right. Well, here's the question. What was the credit score looking like?
I don't remember. We were young. I was probably like 25 at the time. I
Yeah,
don't
Okay.
know.
credit scores
Well,
weren't as
well,
accessible back then.
okay. I'm
And
making
then
a
I was in
point.
the
Well,
military.
okay, well, that's the point I was going to make, but I'm not.
No, make your point.
Okay, yeah, because being in the military, you were afforded easier credit for on a lot of on various things. So, I mean, actually, that's more of an incentive. I was only asking though.
All right,
Yeah.
so we are down to less than 2 minutes, so I'm going to give you each 30 seconds to do your final statement, starting with finite, and I'll let you know when 30 seconds is up.
Okay. Um, don't I wouldn't look at what Elon Musk is doing with Twitter on its face value or anything that Twitter's done in the past. He's probably got other plans for it that include crypto and probably some other things as well. There you go.
All right, less than 30 seconds. All right, Kalinda, your turn.
I too would agree that I probably shouldn't look into it as deep as I've been looking into it because, of course, he's supposed to be a genius. So let's see what happens.
All right, so you taking the wait and see approach. Yeah, I'm kind of like
Mhm.
that too, but once I get billed $8 a month, I'm gonna be like, well, been nice knowing you, Twitter. On to the next thing.
Well, don't be trying to get no blue check mark, and you have to pay, right?
Yeah, I don't need a blue check mark.
All right, the heck with that. Or go to fan base.
I'll get paid to be on social media then.
Yeah, and I invested in that. I invested.
All right, well, thank you for joining us. This is Canella signing off, and Kalinda and Finite.
Kalinda.
Hmm.
All right, bye, y'all.
Bye.